So on our right-hand side, we have Michael Hetrick for the third time I believe we've had on camera today. He's playing his Birthing Pod deck with basically it's just a green-white pod. He has a couple of Phantasmal images and a Deceiver Exarch and a Zealous Conscripts that he's splashing, but everything else is green-white. And on the left-hand side, we have Ryad Alawar, and he is playing a zombie pod deck that actually has a much more complete Birthing Pod package than the deck we had on camera earlier. He's going up to cards like Skin Render and Thragtusk, so a little bit more like the deck that Jerry T proposed on Star City a little while back. I'm not sure if this style of deck has seen any tournament success, but we've seen some zombie pod decks that have basically just Birthing Pod plus Blood Artist to sort of combo out / have a little more grindy game to them. This one is a much more complete Birthing Pod package.
The complete package. So pod versus pod here.
Yeah, but Hetrick's pods are a little bit better than Alawar's pods, for sure.
And he's up 1-0
Yep.
as the players are shuffling up for game 2.
Looking in the sideboard here, Alawar is starting only 2 Blood Artists. I'm assuming he has 3 and 4 in the board, which I'm assuming he's siding into. He has a single Manic Vandal, which I like as a pod target. And other than that, not a lot of action. He has a Disciple Bolus, which might be good for a slow matchup. But I don't believe he has 3 more Thragtusk on this board. I don't feel they're for this matchup. They're much more for like other zombie decks or Red Green Beatdown, that style of deck.
All right, so Michael Hetrick also has a Manic Vandal he can pod up and an Acidic Slime, so he can go up the chain in 2 ways to get an Artifact Destruction creature to take care of pod. He's also got 4 Celestial Purges, which is good at taking these undying creatures, removing them, exiling them permanently from the game.
Yeah, getting rid of Blood Artist or Drawless Messenger to sort of break things up. It's very powerful. So it looks like...
here we go. Hetrick versus Alawar. They're looking at their hands.
I don't know if the camera is sitting on, if we're waiting on us here, or if Hetrick is debating a mulligan.
I
believe it looks
judge just came over. What could be going on here?
Nope, looks like we're underway. A land and a Gravecrawler. Matched by a bird. So 2 damage from the Gravecrawler, and it looks like Alawar has a Fume Spitter in his hand. I presume will come down to take care of the bird.
Yeah, he has to be the aggressor here. As you said, Hetrick's deck is built much better for the long game in this pod attrition.
Right. So Novice Visionary, and the mana completely fixed now with a Copperline Gorge and a Seachrome Coast. Not often seen together.
No, definitely not. A bit, my eyes are a bit sore from the conflux of colors there.
No blocks from the Visionary. Or I guess he's debating here. Obviously.
If he doesn't block, it means he's got a pod, right? And he wants to start the chain.
It's just if he has another zombie, then he just blocks and doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, but you could buy some time.
Well, you'll probably get an opportunity to block with that Visionary at some point. It's not like this is the one window that you have to block. And the fact that if he just has another zombie and gets it back, you sort of just lost the guy for not a lot in value. There's Blade Splicer, which is the scourge of zombie decks everywhere.
Right.
Not an easy card to beat.
First strike, very relevant here.
And you don't want to use a removal spell on his 1/1 for 3, but you don't really have much of a choice. Out of like cheap, efficient cards, Blade Splicer is definitely the most problematic one for zombies.
But she'll use a Mortar Pod. That seems like a good enough trade. Oh, and the Tragic Slip to follow up on the Golem token.
See, now it's a lot more attractive to block in theory with the Visionary, because it means that Alawar can't replay it this turn, which means that you stop it not only this turn, but also at least the following turn.
Could have been sandbagging a 4th land there, but he was not. That would have been a very good play to hold that 4th land and make him, trick him into blocking and then just replay the Gravecrawler.
Perhaps Hetrick sensing the body language or just didn't have much of a choice. And there's a Manic Vandal to blow up. Not the ideal target, but still something.
It's pretty good here. It's going to save him a lot of damage.
Yeah, once you have Gravecrawler...
Gravecrawler and Mortar Pod, just the machine gun.
Yeah. Peanut butter and jelly, those two.
Okay, if you want to call it that. I'm more of an egg salad kind of guy, but nothing goes with that.
The trash can, I think.
Oh, thanks. You haughty peanut butter and jelly supremacists.
All right, so Blood Artist in, and so this makes blocking slightly less attractive proposition.
Slightly. You don't want to block at all now. If you don't block, you take 3. If you do block, you take 4.
Yep.
But he blocks.
So we're going to see a drain for 2 from the Blood Artist triggers, and then the Messenger coming back as a
4/3.
And his comes into play trigger happening again.
So Michael Hetrick's going to be at 7 and replays the Gravecrawler. Oh!
Going up to 12. Still got some work to do. We're not out of the woods yet, but that's a very good swing right there. I believe that Alawar just ripped his 4th land for Falconwrath Aristocrat.
There's just no Thragtusk.
He's not easy to beat.
But if you're gonna do it, a 4/1 haste flyer.
This actually might be game this turn.
Yeah, okay. Can attack with everything and get a whole bunch of Blood Artist triggers. How much damage is this here? So 4 in the air and at least 2 getting through on the ground. So 6.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8. And then he still has, he can still just sack his guys to Aristocrat if he felt like it. So he can knock him down to 1 on board.
But notably, trading the Thragtusk. Did he not get his? Oh, there it is. 3/3 beast token. The Thragtusk trading for the Messenger means the Gravecrawler may not be able to come back in the future. So, got to deal with something here.
Yeah, he has to at least kill 1 guy.
Elvish Visionary, digging. Alright, get that beast. I don't know, it looks kind of like some kind of bison. In my world, that's what a bison sounds like.
So in the absence of a life gain spell or something along those lines, I don't think
he
Hetrick can get out of this turn.
He would have needed another Thragtusk there. But he's going to pass the turn and maybe make Alawar think what could be going on.
Yeah.
Bluffing something here could set up a favorable play in game 3.
Another zombie also sets up another angle that this deck has, which is Gravecrawler plus Rebuy plus Aristocrat plus Blood Artist as another.
Right, that would have just ended. Well, no, he would have had enough creatures to just end the game.
I mean, yeah, I think Alawar has a creature left in his. All right, so there's a Restoration Angel. I assume we'll reset our Visionary, but I still don't think this lets us block out of this turn.
All right, block. 1, 2 creatures die, 2 Blood Artist triggers. No combat damage gets through.
All right, and now we're just going to, now we have the zombie we needed to just chain off with Aristocrat, Blood Artist, and Gravecrawler. So, Alawar takes down the second game there. Pretty impressive. That's one of the rare times I've seen a zombie deck be able to beat a Blade Splicer, but a combination of like good pressure plus Aristocrat plus
Falconwrath Aristocrat really does a lot of work here. It's 4 haste damage in the air.
Yeah, Hetrick's deck's not particularly good at blocking flyers. He has Restoration Angel, He can block. He can chump block with birds, but flying creatures is definitely one of the better ways to attack this deck.
But even blocking, Falkenrath Aristocrat can become indestructible by sacrificing a creature.
Doesn't even permanently answer it, but being in the air is one of the better ways certainly to fight that deck. So
we're both gonna take a look through at their sideboards again, see if they want to change anything.
Yeah, I don't know if anything really changes for Hetrick, whether or not he's on the play or on the draw. He might want to bring in. It's possible that he wants to bring in a second copy of Zealous Conscripts if he hasn't already, as a way to try to fight Aristocrat, because you can just take it and sack it.
And Michael Hetrick has a Singleton Fiend Hunter in the sideboard that.
I'm almost positive that already came in. I mean, it's just very good here. If it sticks, that's awesome, and if it doesn't, it's just paves the way for some other better creature to be able to come down uncontested.
Elish Norn is another card. Maybe he didn't bring it in on the draw, but wants to bring it in on the play.
Yeah, it definitely becomes a lot more attractive when you're going first.
And that would be a more permanent answer to the Aristocrat that gave him so much trouble in Game 2.
Along with every other,
card. Along with creatures.
Yeah.
Elish Norn deals with creatures.
Yep. So are you also going to be heading out to Los Angeles next week?
No, I'm not. I need a break, but actually I'm not getting a break. I'm head judging the Richmond Classic next weekend. It's going to be people's last chance in the East Coast to qualify for the Atlanta Invitational the following week.
So for those of us who don't, haven't been to a Classic yet, it's a relatively new thing that Star City's introduced. Can you just go over what that tournament series is like?
Yeah, the Classic Series is a one-day tournament, $5,000 standard, and it was just a way for us to kind of fill the schedule with more tournaments, especially when we take these long West Coast swings, Portland, Los Angeles. We wanted people to have a chance to qualify for Atlanta, before the tournament started. So. And it's one day, so you don't have to commit to a whole weekend. You can just come out for a day of standard, have some fun.
All right, so we're off to our third and deciding game. Looks like Hetrick is looking at an opening 7 that contains Celestial Purge, some mix of lands. It looks like a Manic Vandal. I assume we're going to be keeping.
Both keep. Hetrick starts off with Forest Avacyn's Pilgrim. Raid with Swamp Gravecrawler.
Yep.
So this is similar to the start and last game, but
it's a Borderland Ranger.
Michael accelerates into a 2/2. Searching up an island here. Oh, yep.
Borderland Ranger is, again, subtly just like Elvish Visionary, a very good card in the Zombies matchup. Anything that kind of lets you 2 for 1 and muddy up the board is just generally productive against that deck. So here's a Mortipod. I assume this will take out the Pilgrim. So we can curve into Manic Vandal here, although I don't know if he wants to be using his Manic Vandal exactly in that way when the threat of Birthing Pod definitely looms. The cavern obviously being set to zombies. All right, he's just going to curve into Manic Vandal here.
Could name Vampire if you need the fixing for Aristocrat.
Yep.
But there's surely a lot more zombies, and Geralf's Messenger on turn 3 is a lot more important, I think.
Yes, for sure.
So Hetrick refusing to trade with the Gravecrawler because, there's a zombie.
Yeah. And Alawar also has Birthing Pod in his hand as well, so.
Okay, so next turn things are going to get
you can start going crazy.
Oh, not quite.
Celestial Purge, taking care of the Messenger.
And really taking care of it, exiling it, so it does not come back.
I think Hetrick, I believe Hetrick is actually out of gas. His hand, I think, is 2 lands. Certainly one of them's a cavern. I can't tell what the second card is. But he might be fairly close to being on empty.
So, Raid, you said had a birthing pod coming up here.
Yep. Birthing pod being not too exciting here. I mean, it gets good next turn, but he might not be able to afford like taking damage to not make that much impact on the board, and then.
But he attacked with a Grave Trawler, and Michael Hetrick trades his Pilgrim. Doesn't feel like he needs the acceleration anymore.
Ooh, and there's a Skin Render.
Ooh.
Normally just a Birthing Pod target, but certainly quite good here.
Skin Render puts 3 -1/-1 counters on the Manic Vandal.
Although even though this is kind of a small thing, I'd rather kill the Borderland Ranger than the Manic Vandal.
Okay.
Because if you know you have Birthing Pod in your hand, you don't want Hetrick to be able to rip Sun Titan and Sun Titan back the Manic Vandal that turn. You'd rather make him wait one more turn to be able to attack with Sun Titan and get the Vandal back.
Okay. But there's also Restoration Angel to consider, right?
That is true. That is true.
Wow, okay. We've got reports that the Cavern of Souls that Michael Hetrick just played is naming Praetor, which means Elish Norn. That's exciting. I'm
Yes.
very excited. I want to see Elish Norn hardcast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That.
Although I think it's pretty safe to assume that you're in the clear from Restoration Angel the way that Hetrick played.
Yeah, but there's always every draw step.
That is true. There is a draw step.
All right.
So
Raid plays Birthing Pod.
The 5s that he has available to him are Thragtusk, if it's still in the deck, and Zealous Conscripts are his targets.
Well, both are incredibly good. One is much better in this situation.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be the Conscripts, right?
not right now.
Okay. Well, he doesn't have a 6, right?
No, there's no 6.
Because a classic Birthing Pod play is to actually get Conscripts, target your own Birthing Pod to untap it, but not in this deck.
No.
5 is the top of the pod chain. Then he gets the Thragtusk. That's okay right here.
Although this is certainly not the matchup where Thragtusk is at its most powerful.
No, it isn't.
I think Hetrick just drew a Thragtusk of his own.
So
his Thragtusks are much better for him than Alawar's is for him.
Yeah, Hetrick is on the defensive here, looking to survive, looking to tap that Cavern of Souls for white mana to cast a Praetor. Okay, so
Alawar has a Fume Spitter in hand, so I believe he's debating between chinning that up with his pod or killing the bird. But since he has Gravecrawler, I would definitely just err on the side of using your Gravecrawler to get your Birthing Pod engine started.
Yeah, he could sack his Gravecrawler to get a 2 casting cost zombie and just recast the Gravecrawler.
Yeah. He has a Butcher Ghoul he can go get for this purpose.
Oh, he's got another Gravecrawler too. So
yeah, he's got the one in the graveyard as well. I assume we're going to be Fume Spitting away the bird at some point here.
Sack Gravecrawler. The one with Summoning Sickness.
And there's a Blood Artist.
Yeah, this is gonna get messy here.
Yep.
A lot of triggers and things are gonna go off. Fume Spitter.
Replays the Gravecrawler.
And putting stuff far, far away. We know they're there though.
There's another pretty nice interaction that the deck has is using Gravecrawlers to Birthing Pod into Blood Artists. You can build up a whole board of them.
Oh, yeah. So as you said, Raid sacks the Fume Spitter to take out the Birds of Paradise and attacks with Thragtusk and Gravecrawler.
And he's totally happy to suicide his Gravecrawler into a Thragtusk because it's just a Blood Artist trigger and you get to recast it for free.
Free damage.
So now I think Hetrick is just debating about whether or not he wants to trade Thragtusk off. think he...
Thrag
okay.
Tusk, okay,
He's
so
going to put it in front of the...
eats the Grave Crawler.
Saves himself
Will
a
he
point of
chump?
damage.
Chump with the Borderland Ranger?
Nope. Just letting it all through. So he ends up taking 6 inside of combat, 5 from the Thrag Tusk, getting 2 through, 1 more from the Grave Crawler trigger, and then they get replayed.
Razor Verge Thicket is not going to do it.
So I assume we're going to see another spin of a Grave Crawler into another Blood Artist.
And that... Well, he doesn't have... Other than Birthing Pod, he doesn't have a way to sacrifice things, so... Raid can just suicide some more guys in to get...
Yeah.
Oh, he does not? No?
Yeah, I think he's just trying to do the math about whether or not it's better to pod before combat to get another artist, or just ascend and then do his podding after combat.
And it has to be right to pod here, right? That's just so many more triggers from things. Oh, I guess not. Okay. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have to block something, but if you block something...
This is the squeeze that the Blood Artist can put you in.
Trade Thrag Tusks.
So this is 6 points of damage coming in. 4 from the Grave Crawlers coming through, and then 2 from the various Thrag Tusk triggers.
And then if he
from the Blood Artist triggers.
Sacks a Grave Crawler, that'll do 1. So he can get Michael to 1 here.
Assuming he has nothing else.
And they both have beasts.
Alright, so he's just going to go get a messenger here and finish the job, it looks like.
That works too.
Yep.
Handshake, handshake.
Alright.
Raid Alawar takes it 2 games to 1 with his zombie pod deck.